Welcome to the module on use of program media, steps in planning and factors to be considered. The learning objectives of this module are to provide a basic understanding on the use of program media, to understand the characteristics and use of program media, to understand planning and factors to be considered while designing program media. Introduction. In social group work, knowledge is always transmitted to the group members by the worker through the judicious use of programs. Programs work as a tool to enhance group relationship, to promote a sense of achievement, to sublimate and channelize certain impulses, to actualize problems in an ongoing social situation, and work through or symbolically articulate problems and feelings which members are unable to express verbally. A program is a concept which, when broadly conceived, includes the entire range of activities, relationships, interactions, and experiences that have been deliberately planned and carried out with the help of the worker to meet the needs of the individual and the group. In planning programs, the social group worker must take into account a number of factors. The program must be in accord with the facilities and traditions of the community, the setting in which she or he is practicing. The program must be tailored to fit into the needs and interests of the group members. The program must be based upon the resources which exist in the community. The program should provide opportunities for all members to participate. Program media includes all activities like games, singing, craft activities, storytelling, street plays, other theatre activities, etc. These are purposefully organized by the worker in the group to generate interaction among members and to accomplish the set objectives. In a true sense, we can say that the program effectively makes the group. Characteristics of program media. They should be simple and easy to understand, applicable to any type of group, example, children, aged, adults, differently abled, and so on. Easy to replicate, planned properly before implementation, with a high recreation factor, highly economical, clearly delivers the message to the group members. Uses of program media. Provides individuals an opportunity to find to what extent his or her personality has to be changed to become good or socially acceptable. Improves socialization among the group members. Integrates goals and achievement of the group members. Unites the members towards achieving the common goal. Promotes good relationship among the members. Helps in reduction and settlement of conflicts among members, provides recreation and improves communication. Essential skills for a social worker for effective use of program media in social group work are creativity, observation, keen interest in people, enthusiasm, unconditional positive attitude, proper communication, decision making, assertiveness, empathy, conflict management, leadership, and articulation skills. Steps in planning a session. The first step in program planning is identification of the problem. Generally, identification of the problem can be done in 3 situations. Concern over a specific development issue which needs immediate attention. When the agency identifies a problem based on its experience in the area and desires to solve the problem. When a developmental vacuum is felt in the social fabric, certain questions can simply be asked which will help us in problem identification. What are the hot topics or key issues facing the beneficiaries or target group of the agency? How do those issues relate to your subject area or job description? For example, if the key health issue in your area is smoking tobacco, you can begin to identify key contacts and educational responses that would support its users. What are the environmental factors that might influence the situation? The environment includes factors that can influence outcomes, but they are factors that we cannot control. Begin by developing a needs assessment to quantify the issues and problems. The agency or the worker might start with a focus group or an advisory committee to develop questions, to gather information, or to help with designing a survey. What are the assets of the community? How could these assets contribute to solve the issue? Examples include active community clubs, school systems, diverse population, strong community leadership, community pride. What is it that the agency or the worker can contribute towards a feasible solution? What is the area of expertise the agency or the worker has? Who are the potential partners with similar aims? Identify the target audience for educational programming. Develop measurable process and outcome objectives to assess progress in addressing the problem. Clearly defined objectives and desired outcomes will give direction to move ahead and also provide a medium to assess the progress in addressing the problem. It's common for people to begin listing things they can do. This is a list of activities, but it is not a list of objectives and outcomes. Adequate time must be given to really consider the written objectives and desired outcomes, in addition to activities, because it will provide the agency with a justification for all the work it will complete and the basis for an evaluation that will tell if the agency really made a difference. What should the target audience learn or be aware about, sensitized to, and what change does the agency want to see as a result of the program? Make sure these desired outcomes can be measured. Most often, a pre and post survey can provide the evidence that your effort made a difference. Example, after the sensitization program, more youth are wearing helmets when driving two-wheelers. Or if in the case of the above mentioned anti-tobacco program, the number of cigarettes used per day has been lowered, the number of first-timers got reduced, etc. Expected outcomes can be brought under three major heads: short-term, learning; medium-term, action; long-term, behavior change. Short-term results can be measured in terms of the learning that has happened in the target group. Awareness, knowledge, attitudes, skills, opinions, aspirations, motivations, etc. can be brought under this head. Medium-term results bring about certain actions, behavior, practice, decisions, policies, social action, etc. What are the desired long-term results? Behavior change or change of conditions, social, economic, civic, environmental. Another matter of fact is the timeline for achieving the predetermined outcomes. Creating awareness happens more quickly than changing a behavior. Be sure to consider your desired outcome and allow enough time and effort to reach the objective. Based on these indicators can be designed, while enough care is taken in this angle. Next area to be carefully thought about is the content of the educational programming that will be needed to reach the desired outcomes. The agency or the worker might want to freewheel, mind map, or brainstorm in the group with other stakeholders to think about the content. While working on the content, the following factors have to be kept in mind. Avoid information overload. Too often, we want to teach everything about a topic in one session. Instead, review your audience's characteristics and focus on priorities. Limit the number of desired outcomes to limit your content. Start thinking about how the information can be divided into different learning activities. Learners appreciate smaller chunks of information that are carefully grouped and delivered using a variety of delivery methods, which we call program media. If the education is in person, allow time for them to process what they are learning. What level of interaction is desired or needed between the worker and the participants? Does this interaction need to be live, face to face? If so, why? If not, how else can interaction take place? Finally, it may be time to think of a motivating title for your program. Just remember, no clever title or logo will overcome a poor program. Training tools or activities or outputs. Selecting appropriate output activities for the target audience is where the brilliance of the social group worker lies. How to teach this content or deliver the message and reach your desired outcomes? How will you facilitate the learning process, not just provide information? How will you get the target audience involved in their learning and help them apply the information? What are the best activities to teach this content, considering the content and the various learning styles of the target audience? Workshops, meetings, counseling, or facilitation, assessments? Think about what a particular tool or medium will and will not do, and under what conditions it will work best. The latest technology may not always be the best for the content, the learners, and your desired outcomes. Select the teaching tools that can best work together to reach the desired outcomes for different learners. DVDs, game-based learning, publication, brochure, PowerPoint, music, plays, skits, collage, puppetry, etc. Design the various teaching tools to reinforce concepts and fit together logically. If this is a training of trainers program, decide who will train the program facilitators or deliverers and how they will be trained. Consider how you will evaluate outcomes with multiple facilitators as well. Financial planning. A proper budget has to be prepared to have control over the entire program. Estimate the cost of inputs, materials needed, activities involved. What must be invested to develop and carry out the program? Include staff, volunteers, time, money, materials, equipment, technology, and partners. This helps to avoid abrupt end of the program due to financial crunches. Marketing plan. Develop a plan to market the program to the targeted audiences. How will the target audience be made aware of and be encouraged to take part in this program? Why do they need this information? Think about outlets specific to the target audience. Where do these people already gather, or how do they prefer to get their information? Implementation. Develop the training tools and carry out the program. If the delivery method includes in-person meetings, consider physical environment, lighting, acoustics, temperature, distractions, writing space, seating arrangements, signage, parking, convenient access, etc. Psychological environment. Welcome learners personally as they arrive. Serve beverages and/or snacks. Help learners feel confident about themselves and their learning ability. Social environment. Help learners get acquainted with each other and with you, the educator, and provide opportunities for interaction throughout the learning experience. Cultural environment. Be respectful of and sensitive to the cultural or ethnic diversity of learners and the values and experiences they bring to the learning situation. If the delivery method is electronic, the physical environment becomes less important, but the remaining elements continue to surface in your course design, interactive opportunities, and structure. Research indicates that encouraging active learning is key for all types of learning. If the planned program is not in-person type, that is, if it is for a large mass or general public, then much of the above factors cannot be considered. Evaluation or assessment. Were the desired outcomes met? How did the program make a difference for participants? Often this can't be measured for months or even years. Steps in outcome-based evaluation include: identify the objectives and desired outcomes, which we have already done. Specify evaluation standards, indicators. Design evaluation tools and methods. Collect data. Analyze the data. Determine if your short, medium, or long-term desired outcomes were met. Report the results. No longer is the number of participants or their happiness with the program enough. The short, medium, or long-term impacts on their lives are needed. If your program was designed to create awareness, then measuring increased awareness is the basis for your evaluation. If your program was designed to increase knowledge, then measuring knowledge gained is the basis for evaluation. If your program was designed to support action or a change of behavior, then more time must pass before you evaluate whether the desired change was made. Be sure to align your evaluation tool with your desired outcomes. Reporting. Summarize outcomes or impacts and develop a summary or an impact report to share with participants, partners, and decision makers. This will give the agency a clear idea on how far they could achieve the target. This report can also become reference material in future planning. Each effort or organization may have its own method of reporting impacts or results. Factors that needed to be taken care while delivering a session. The group worker, while handling a group, has to consider the following factors. Prepare well in advance before the activity, like taking activity materials, questionnaires, etc. Define the goals or objectives of the activity clearly. Be thorough with the instructions that have to be delivered to the group before the activity commences. Ensure that the discussion starts on time and ends at pre-arranged time. Divide the students into small groups of 8 to 10 students using different methods. Example, according to date of birth, January to February is group 1, March to April, group 2, etc. Color of the dress or hairband or bangles. Students whose names start from A to E are group 1, F to I, group 2, etc. See that the same students do not form the same group. Help the group to choose a different spokesperson each time. Keep the discussion always on track. The worker should not dominate the discussion and instead facilitate the smooth flow of discussion. However, when the discussion is straying away from the point, the worker should bring the discussion back to the point. Encourage participation from those students who are shy and timid. Make sure that everyone participates in the activities in one way or other. Allow students to express their ideas freely. Stress that the ideas always need not be good, useful, socially acceptable, or appropriate. Create and preserve the atmosphere, freedom and friendliness without threat of ridicule, humiliation, or being put down. Set limits at the same time. In the name of freedom, students should not use bad language and violence, verbal or physical. Have the do's and don'ts clear. Always note down the key points of discussion on the blackboard or the flip chart. Be neutral and non-judgmental and do not take the side of some students. Always summarize all points at the end of each activity. Create an atmosphere of learning. An example of a group intervention is mentioned below. Name of the group activity: Improving Concentration. Name: Game. Objective of the activity: to help students to play an activity which improves concentration. Expected outcome: students become aware of personal reasons for poor concentration. Students identify new and effective techniques to improve concentration. Time: 60 minutes. Techniques used: game and discussion. Materials needed: large empty room and mat or chairs. Note to the group worker. The group worker can use animal names, city names, capital names, and flower names for the different rounds and different groups. You can switch type of name halfway through the game to increase the difficulty of the game. Procedure. Step 1. Divide students into 5 to 6 groups of 8 to 10 students in each group. Ask each group to select a group leader. Instruct each group to sit in a circle. 5 minutes. Step 2. Explain the activity to the group as follows. The name begins with one student saying the name of a person. Example, Rahul. The person seated next to his or her left will repeat the name mentioned and then give another name beginning with the last letter of the previous name. Example, the last letter is L. So, Rahul and then Leena. The next student will say Rahul, Leena, Avinash. The game proceeds till everyone gets a chance. Complete at least 2 or 3 rounds in a similar way. Give less time to think, and over 2 and 3 rounds, the students should tell the names very fast. 15 minutes time. Step 3. After 4 or 5 rounds of playing, ask each group to discuss the queries raised below. Allot 10 minutes. Step 4. Each group to present their discussions by the spokesperson. Allot 10 minutes. Step 5. Summarize in 5 minutes. Facilitative questions. How was this activity? What are the capabilities a student needs to play this game well? What are the factors which helped you to concentrate on this activity? What are the factors which interfered with your concentration? What are the common factors which cause distraction while you study? How can a student improve concentration, especially in studies? How much effort do students take to improve their concentration? Can you name one activity where most of the people have high concentration? Why? Expected responses from the students are: we enjoyed the game, it was very interesting. We had difficulty to concentrate on the activity. We were distracted by noise from outside and so were not able to concentrate. One should sit in a place where there is no noise. Some students who finished their turn were disturbing others by laughing and giving hints. Instructions that the new name will start with the last letter of the last name helped in concentration and remembering. Regular study habits and improve concentration. Noise, lack of interest in the subject decrease concentration. Students rarely think of ways to improve concentration. Concentration is necessary to improve memory. TV, movie, story reading, games are usually interesting to most. This is because people have interest in such things. Interest always affects concentration. Summary of this module. In this module, the learner got an opportunity to learn about program media in group work, its characteristics and its use, to understand steps in planning and factors to be considered while designing program media. Thank you for attending this module.